working at the farm, another day of super hot temperatures. So again, excuse the appearance. This ain't no beauty pageant. It's in the high 80s. It is humid. The bugs are going crazy. Nuts. But it's summer, so that's okay. Just hot when you work. So this is not a wine fest about how hot it is or how messy I look. This is about the property. We say to you guys, we're trying to restore this property. You're probably like, what does that mean? Well, we spent a few years before we met you working on this property. Let me show you a few examples of what we're talking about. Hold on, I gotta flip the camera. So, I don't know if you can see this because the weeds are high. I should have shown you this before summer. But in this pile of weeds, hopefully you can see this. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it. Hopefully you can see it in this pile of weeds. I'm not sure this is working. I don't want to get a tick for the sake of showing you this. See that rubber sticking out? See that rubber sticking out? Way over there, see that rubber sticking out? Way over here, see that rubber sticking out? Somebody dumped, gosh, I don't know, probably, I don't know, 30 tires, all kind of size tires, truck tires, tractor tires. It's a mess, dumped, left here. This is one of the things we have to clean up. Let me try to show you some other things. So this is one side of the cute little thing we call the stone building. We love this little building. We've showed it to you in previous videos. We want to shore it up, preserve it, you know, find a use for it. But hold on, let me show you what I'm talking about when it comes to cleaning up this property. Oh, look, outside the stone building, a random tire and some random metal. And what's here stuck in this bush? I don't know, is that a belt? Is that some kind of belt for a machine? I don't know. Anyway, this lovely stone building, if you look way back in the back, which I can't even reach because there's so much junk in there, it's filled with snowmobiles, it's filled with metal, it's filled with just a mess. Mike is mowing, so you're going to hear some mower in the background. It is just insane. Somebody, when we first got in here, look, more tires, because you can't dump more tires. When we first got in here, somebody had like bags and bags and bags of lime just dumped everywhere. Lime all over the floor, everything, just amazing. And there's all sorts of probably antique remnants of, you know, stuff for horses and cows, and yeah, it's pretty amazing. But the whole back end of this thing is a mess of junk people just dumped. So that's on the list to clean things up. Here's what we think is an old abandoned chicken coop. Not the worst thing, maybe we can save it. But let's take a walk up our little road here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this because of the weeds. Again, I should have done this before summer and before the weeds were out. But see this big pile of green next to us? Let me see if you can see any of it. I don't think so. Maybe we'll come back to this with you in the fall and the winter. But, well, maybe you can see that. See that little bit of white? That is one little example of inside this entire patch. Let me walk the length of these weeds, because weeds don't care, they'll grow around anything. Inside this entire patch is dumped appliances, dumped equipment, dumped metal. Here's some toward the edge. You know, there's a whole chunk of junk in here. When we talk about restoring this property and cleaning it up, this pile of junk is on the list. While we're up here, let me show you this. We don't consider this junk, actually. We consider this pretty cool. Somebody abandoned this old tractor, which has kind of become a big planter for the weeds and for the milkweed and all sorts of green things in the summer. Somebody just dumped it and left it here. Obviously, it probably doesn't run. We actually don't consider this junk. It's just kind of cool to look at, so I'm sharing it with you. Isn't that awesome? Look at that thing. Looks a little scary to drive to me. Mike knows more about the year and the model. Look at these tires. Look at these big tires. How much would it cost now to get these big tires? Anyway, that's not really junk, but they're cool, so I thought I'd include them on our little tour here. This, I believe, is equipment for haying, but I'm sure no expert in haying, although we would love to get our fields to the state where we could hay them or somebody else could hay them, because again, they used to be hay fields, talking about cleaning up the property, but somebody let them just turn to weed and poison ivy and all sorts of crap and never cut it. So when we talk about we need to restore this old family property, that's on the list, the fields themselves. Anyway, this is just some cool old equipment. Let me show you one more thing. Hey, so as I'm walking down, oh, you know, hold on. I dropped my gloves. You never want to lose a pair of good gloves. Whoa, look at that camera work. That's ridiculous. Okay, my gloves are in hand. Oh, I dropped one again. Isn't that silly? Okay, so as I'm walking down to my last show and tell, my hair's blowing everywhere because I took my ponytail out. I forgot one thing. In the basement of the farmhouse, we already told you guys in a previous video, we were asking you what should be the fate of this old 1850s farmhouse that was not treated well. In the basement of the farmhouse, it was filled with appliances that didn't work. Stuff just dumped down there and left. So we had to pull it all out. We do have a video somewhere of us rigging a way to haul them out of that stone basement. Oh, here comes Mike, really loud. Hold on just a second. He's trying to catch some grass. So, okay, here's the last part of our show and tell. You ready? I'm about to peer over the edge of our last show and tell. Actually, I got distracted. Look at these. Everywhere on this farm are bottles that were just dumped and left. Some of them are really quite cool, actually. I've saved some of them. Some of them are more recent and people just goofing around. Can you even hear me next to this mower? My goodness. Well, if you can't, we'll just ditch it. An old fish tank. Why would you just dump an old fish tank? But here's the big one. See this foundation? This cool rock foundation? See this thing? See this thing? See this thing? At one point we're told this was a garage or some kind of storage. But look down. A couple years ago, this thing was filled to the brim with junk and garbage. Everything imaginable that you can think that someone would dump. Insane. Household garbage, mechanical equipment, toys, cans, bottles. It literally was filled to the entire brim. Somebody used this as their own personal landfill, which is just so disgusting. We're near the end. We've shoveled a lot out, we've burned a lot out, and wow, you probably cannot hear a thing with this mower. So I'm gonna end this tour, but there's a little peek of what we say when we say we gotta clean up this property.